What is up, my aesthetic boys? It's Fresh, back with another video. I'm reporting live on the scene of some of the best revenge stories in town, and I hope you'll stick around for the end. You don't want to miss it. Hey guys, just wanted to say a big thank you to Dashlane for sponsoring this video. Anyhow, enough of me talking. Let's get on to the entire video of me talking. I got sweet revenge on my brother after 4 years of waiting. Flashback to 2015. I'm a diehard Star Wars fan, and to say I was excited when The Force Awakens came out is a huge understatement. I was beyond excited. My brother then spoils the main part of the film. I won't say it in case someone else hasn't seen the film yet somehow, also it came out 4 years ago, but anyway, I was devastated and was so angry I wanted to punch him in the face. Today, the new season of Power came out, his favorite show. I also love it and watched it first. I thought of spoiling it for him but decided not to. Anyway, he really pissed me off today and I jokingly said that I'd ruin it for him. He then laughed and said, "Just like Star Wars, that was so funny when I ruined it." So, I did it. I spoiled it and it felt great. Yes, I'm an asshole, yes, I'm petty, but I don't care. Revenge is sweet. Well, OP, I sympathize with you there. I too found myself in a similar state of excitement for the release of The Force Awakens in December of 2015. Despite my utmost care to avoid online spoilers, I managed to see the largest of them all on, get this, iFunny. Of all the ways for a movie to get spoiled, it had to be f***ing iFunny. Let's dine and dash, but forget we're wearing teen jackets. I was a server for a while at an Italian restaurant. A group of teenagers came in, very clearly a sports team of some kind. I don't expect much in way of a tip from them because they're teenagers, but that's never stopped me from giving good service. But they're rowdy as all hell, constantly making me run back and forth for every little thing they could think of, and just being all around D-bags. I noticed a few of them had taken off their coats. When it came time for the bill, they asked me to get a pitcher of water for them to share before they left. So I did, and when I got back, they were all gone without paying. Awful, right? Except these absolute morons forgot they were wearing their jackets that said, "Local high school wrestling team." You bet I immediately called that school. You bet I told everybody I talked to that the team had stolen from the restaurant. And you bet when my step-uncle, who also happened to be the coach of said wrestling team, showed up and told them they stole from his niece, that every single one of their lives was made more miserable. I was okay with that. I also got paid for that check and a 40% tip. As a former high school athlete, I can attest to the fact that if you are caught doing something you probably shouldn't have been doing, which can be way less serious than actually breaking the law, your coach is going to be the first to know about it. You just better hope that you're the one telling them, because I can guarantee that things are going to be worse if they hear it secondhand. Former boss botches me, then tries to withhold pay when I quit. He pays the ultimate piper when I push back. I consider myself a decent person and an above-average employee. I worked for a medical office directly under a doctor for almost 2 years and was consistently facing issues with him from the start. He was aloof, unhelpful, didn't want to train or help establish protocol. He just wanted me to run everything and take the fall for anything that went wrong. He was married with children but flirted and slept with numerous patients and staff members. This isn't unheard of in this field, so I often just kept my nose down and tried to do my best at my job regardless of his after-hour activities. Problems started to arise more and more, though, as he hired people based on looks and his attraction to them versus their qualifications to do the job. I tolerated a lot of BS, but the last straw was when he wanted me to do somewhat illegal activities financially, and when I refused, the games began. I could sense that he was unhappy with my unwillingness to do whatever he wanted me to do willy-nilly, but didn't think he was upset enough to justify punishing me or trying to get rid of me in any way. Then literally all hell broke loose after a minor procedure I had him do for me. We were in good standing, or so I thought, and I thought nothing of having him do it to me at the time. What sucked royally is that he botched my procedure and caused permanent damage. That wasn't even the worst part. The way he dealt with it was. Instead of apologizing and offering to make it right, which I'm pretty understanding and would have accepted, he denied anything was even wrong or had happened under his care. He went into total cover ass mode and methodically started trying to get rid of me without firing me, as it would definitely be wrongful termination, and the tension was becoming unbearable more and more each day. I was hoping he would make it right and we could move on, but instead, every day was full of scrutiny of my choices and work, and even a write-up for a minor offense that I had no prior warning about. I could see the writing on the wall and realized he was going to wash his hands of me as quickly as possible to preserve his precious reputation, which I could definitely disrupt now with his mistake with me. I noticed shortly after a while on a planned vacation he was advertising for my job. I decided to quit then and there instead of being fired. I was trying to fix the botch prior to quitting and hoped he would help financially, but nope, not gonna happen. I told him I was quitting, and since we were under very abnormal circumstances, that I would not be offering my typical 2-week notice. He was pissed. He was late with my last paycheck, in which he sent a snide letter with telling me he was done with me and my care with him. I noticed that the check was short for 2 sick days I had taken after the botch. We're talking around $275, but it was still enough money that I felt rightly owed. I had a ton of sick pay left and didn't even give it a second thought until now, and thought maybe he just forgot to add it. Nope. He responded curtly saying I hadn't accumulated enough time to pay for the days. I asked to see the proof of that because I knew I had enough time. He changed the accumulation date to another month and said, tough luck, wasn't gonna pay. I told him blatantly that this was wrong and that I would have to report it to the labor board if he couldn't show me proof. He just bullied me back and insisted it is what he says it is, and again, tough luck. He even said to quit contacting him about it or he would report me for harassment to law enforcement. So I went to the labor board. I brought in my contract and asked them about numerous questionable offenses. They couldn't believe how many skewed things were actually going on that I had accepted because I didn't know or he had convinced me otherwise. They had me file for all of the offenses and said they would send us both a letter letting us know the mediation date. Got the letter in the mail from the labor board and almost fell over dead right then and there. What was originally a $275 offense with the other minor claims and now penalties added from the labor board, the total was now $6,500. I laughed hysterically and couldn't believe it at first. I thought about him receiving the same letter that day and just reveled at the thought. Keep in mind, he didn't know at this point that I had actually went to the labor board as I promised. He didn't think I would do it. He thought he had won up to this point. Mediation day rolls around and he sits across from me with the mediator there and is steaming under the pressure now. We both share our sides, which he lied about numerous things of course, and then we talk separately with the mediator. She explains to me that my case may be hard to prove, being somewhat he said she said. She encourages me to take kind of whatever he offers. Before leaving the room with her, I bring up one more thing to her that I was unsure of and didn't ask about before. It involved him not paying overtime and she lit up like a damn Christmas tree. Bingo. With that type of offense and me being able to show verifiable proof, he would have to pay the penalty starting at $6,000 and whatever the judge added after that. She went and told him of this new claim, and he fumed out of the building saying I shouldn't be able to add anything at this point, which is not the case at all, and that he needed to speak with his lawyer. I get a new claim in the mail with the added offense weeks later, and the total is now $9,600. I die again laughing and just basking in the thought of him getting this new claim. There was no contact from him this whole time, but now suddenly there's an email sent to me in the sweetest tone I've ever heard him speak. He pleaded with me that he never meant to withhold anything from me and that he would like to settle all this peacefully outside of the court. Of course he would, I thought to myself. I forwarded the email to our mediator and told her that I did not want to respond and asked her to deal with him and let him know I wanted to continue the no contact he requested earlier. Weeks go by, we're creeping closer to a court date. Suddenly, the offer rolls in for $4,000 and he'll settle. I was set on $5,000 because of all the hassle I had to go through up to this point. I tell the mediator to tell him, nope, $6,000. Silence for another week or two. Then the offer of $5,000 comes in. That was my number, so I waited a couple days just to shake him up a bit more, and the mediator let him know I'd accept. I received the payoff within the week, and then I got to wash my hands of him in the end. He thought he could cheat me and bully me, as I'm sure he's gotten away with it in the past. I gave him a swift lesson that could have just cost him $275 to do the right thing. But now I'm going on vacation to Hawaii and will sip a Mai Tai on his dime for trying to take back what I had rightfully earned and more. This post could find a similar home under r/asshole tax for fairly obvious reasons. Boss was an asshole, ended up having to pay substantially more than the few $100s originally owed to OP. Be an asshole, get taxed, pretty simple equation. However, it could also easily be placed in r/legal advice because holy cow is a botched medical procedure with possible motive and lasting effects, a whole can of worms that I am in no way qualified to open, much less analyze. So with that being noted, I think it's best we all move along. And now a word from our sponsor. Dashlane's here to simplify and secure your online interactions with a variety of powerful, effective, and affordable tools. Dashlane Autofill makes logging into any website more safe and easy than ever. Just click Login on your favorite site, and Dashlane can autofill the rest. Dashlane can even save your debit and credit card information and home addresses, giving you an easier and more secure checkout experience. If you're making a new account, let Dashlane generate and save a password for you, letting you log in with a single click every time. Dashlane's VPN service can also encrypt your data at the push of a button, and you can choose which country you're located in to access content that would otherwise be blocked. Dashlane is available on Google Chrome, the App Store, and Google Play, meaning you can take your information anywhere with the utmost security and convenience. If you want to try it out for yourself, you can download it for free at the link in the description. If you use discount code FRESH, you can get the first 30 days of your premium membership free, as well as 10% off your order. Try Dashlane for free on your first device by heading to dashlane.com/fresh. Lady wouldn't vacate private parking spot. Well, good luck finding your licenseless car in another country police's impound lot. I've lived in an apartment complex in Lisbon, Portugal, the where is important, for the last 4 years. If anyone's from here, you'll know parking is hell. Fortunately, my building has a private garage. However, as is often the case, some parking places are more difficult to park in than others. I happen to have one of the easier ones. Last year I was offered a job abroad and I took it. I thought I'd be nice, parked my car at my parents' where they have plenty of space, and left a notice in the building elevator that went along the lines of, "I'm the owner of 3B and will be away for at least 6 months, feel free to use my parking spot." I ended up being away for longer, actually almost a year. I came back to see my parking spot occupied, which was okay since I offered for it to be used. I put another notice in the elevator, this time to say I was back and would use the parking spot again. I gave it 2 days and picked my car up from my parents. I went into the garage and my space was still being used. Had to park somewhere on the street and decided to give it another day. The day after, it was occupied again by the same car. I asked a couple of neighbors and figured out it belonged to a lady living 2 stories above me. I went up to talk to her and she immediately got defensive and said that her parking spot is very difficult for her to park in, and since I was away for longer than I had announced, I lost the space, which is stupid logic as the spots are bought with the apartment, it literally belongs to me. She also told me that I couldn't use her parking space instead as she was using it for storage. I went to the building admin who said he'd talk to her. He did, but came back shaking his head. Nothing. I sent a registered letter telling her to stop using my space and giving her 48 hours to take her car elsewhere. The next day, I saw the unopened letter in the garbage bin beside the mailbox. I ended up scouting my garage, waiting for her to leave, and would immediately park my car, hoping she would take the hint. She didn't, and we ended up doing this dance for a few weeks, up until the day I came back to see my entire driver's side keyed. That was the final straw. I talked to a friend who owns a towing company. We chose a Saturday morning. The last few weeks she hadn't left home on Saturdays. I knew, as I had been watching her car like a hawk. So I thought we'd have a good chance of her not noticing anything until everything was done. And I towed her car. The plan was initially just to leave the car down the road, but that felt too close and too easy. Then I thought about leaving it in a city about 15 minutes away, but that still didn't feel quite right. My friend jokingly said, let's leave it in Madrid. FYI, Madrid is in Spain, about 600 kilometers or 375 miles away. I knew he was joking, but Madrid just felt right. I asked if he had enough time. He did, so we went off. Once we got to Madrid, we went out for lunch, strolled around the city, and waited until it got dark and the streets empty. In the meantime, we had already decided on where to leave the car, a handicapped parking close to a police station, and so we did. As a bonus, my friend also took both license plates off the car. Then we drove back home. It's been 2 weeks and I haven't seen her car since. One of these days, I might leave a letter in her mailbox telling her to contact Madrid police, but in the meantime, I'll enjoy being able to use my parking whenever I want to. I know, I get some flack for criticizing illegal action in these revenge stories, and while the words vehicle theft certainly crossed my mind a few times, the point of this is extreme revenge. This isn't I called the cops or I contacted building management and issued a stern warning revenge. This is nuclear revenge, so OP kinda stole that woman's car. Kinda. And while I absolutely would not encourage anyone in the audience to pursue any legal action, the justification for this action on a purely moral level is, as with everything concerning such an issue, subjective to its core. I mean, hey, you guys don't go out and steal cars, but they steal cars all the time in movies. I guess it can still be seen as some glorified act of revenge, whether or not it's justified in real-life situations. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. Be sure to subscribe for more daily Reddit content. Drop a like if you liked the video, and I will see you all tomorrow.